The studio lights were still warm when Kelly Ripa made a choice that transcended ratings or schedules. It was a decision rooted not in fame, but in love, partnership, and family. For decades, America had known her as a vibrant, energetic host who could effortlessly turn every morning into a shared experience of laughter and connection. But on this particular day, Kelly's focus shifted from the cameras and studio sets to something far more personal. Her husband, Mark Consuelos, and the life they had built together. She chose to step away from the comforting rhythm of work to be fully present in the one place that mattered most: at home, with Mark and their family. The pace of Kelly's life. Kelly has always moved at an extraordinary pace. From her early days as an actress to decades spent hosting one of the most popular morning talk shows, she learned to balance the demands of a public career with private responsibilities. Her colleagues admired her preparation, her infectious energy, and her unwavering professionalism. But beneath the polished exterior, Kelly was always deeply attuned to the rhythms of family life. She understood that sometimes, the best thing you can do for the people you love is to make choices that prioritize connection over performance. Choosing to step back from her fast-paced career wasn't a retreat. It was a conscious decision to focus on what truly mattered in that moment: her family. It was a reminder that even those who live in the spotlight sometimes need to find a moment of stillness. Mark and Kelly. A partnership beyond the spotlight. Mark Consuelos is more than just Kelly's husband in the public eye. He is her anchor, her confidant, and her constant source of support. Their love story, which began on the set of a soap opera, has endured not just the pressures of fame, but also the challenges of long hours, changing careers, and the unpredictable pace of life. Together, they've built a partnership rooted in humor, honesty, and mutual respect. When life called for a pause, Kelly didn't hesitate. She didn't listen as a celebrity or as someone trying to maintain her public image. She listened as a devoted partner, willing to honor the needs of her spouse and the life they had carefully crafted together. Mark was navigating a chapter in his life that required more than just support. It required her presence. And Kelly recognized that being fully present for him and for their family mattered more than any professional milestone she could achieve. The decision to step away. Kelly's decision to step away from her professional routine was deeply personal, born from long conversations, quiet reflection, and a desire to be there for Mark during a pivotal time. Mark needed space to focus on his own journey, and Kelly, with her usual selflessness, understood that sometimes the best way to love someone is to give them room to breathe. Her choice was a deliberate act of slowing down, choosing to prioritize what really mattered: love, family, and partnership. In a world that often values productivity over presence, Kelly's decision was a profound reminder that sometimes taking a step back is the most courageous and meaningful choice. The absence felt by all her absence was felt almost immediately. The morning routine, which for years had been guided by Kelly's voice, laughter, and energy, suddenly felt different. Fans, who had grown accustomed to starting their day with her, expressed their concern and support. Social media buzzed with messages, both of concern and admiration. But Kelly handled the moment with grace, explaining gently that her decision to step back was not a sign of weakness or defeat. Instead, it was an intentional, quiet act of courage, one that allowed her to focus on what mattered most: her family. Finding peace in stillness. At home, life slowed down in ways that were unexpectedly transformative. No longer bound by the urgency of studio prep or deadlines, Kelly embraced the quiet moments. Her mornings were no longer filled with the rush of getting ready for the cameras. Instead, they were spent savoring time with Mark and simply being present. Evenings stretched into unstructured moments where conversations flowed easily and without interruption. Friends and loved ones began to notice a new calm in Kelly, a softness that came from being fully where she needed to be. Mark spoke of the grounding effect of her presence, highlighting how their connection deepened, not through grand gestures, but through simple acts of being together. In the stillness, their bond strengthened. The impact on fans. Even in her absence, Kelly's choice resonated with her audience. Messages of support poured in from fans around the world. They expressed gratitude for her example of choosing family over fame, for pausing in a world that rarely slows down. Her decision wasn't an ending. It was a recalibration, a reminder that the most meaningful moments often happen out of the spotlight, in the quiet spaces shared with the people who matter most. Returning with clarity, weeks of reflection allowed Kelly to approach her eventual return with renewed clarity and purpose. She didn't feel diminished by her time away. In fact, she felt stronger. Her time at home had not only rejuvenated her, but had also deepened her connection with Mark and her family. When she returned, it wasn't just as a host. She came back as someone who had rediscovered balance and authenticity. She brought with her a renewed energy and a deeper understanding of what truly matters, both personally and professionally. The power of simplicity. What made this chapter of Kelly's life resonate so deeply was its simplicity. In a world obsessed with spectacle, Kelly chose love and presence over performance. She chose to step away quietly, embracing the stillness that allowed her to reconnect with herself and the people she loves most. Her decision carried a profound message. True courage and devotion are often found not in dramatic gestures, but in quiet moments of reflection, intentional choices, and being fully present where it counts most. Reimagining daily life. Away from the studio lights, Kelly and Mark found a new rhythm in their daily life. They rediscovered the beauty of shared, uninterrupted time. Mornings were spent together without the pressure of the clock. Meals were no longer rushed. They became opportunities to connect and savor the present. Conversations weren't limited to brief exchanges. They had the space to unfold naturally. Fame receded into the background, leaving only the solid foundation of their relationship: trust, love, and shared experiences that had sustained them for years. The quiet moments, once overshadowed by the demands of their careers, became the most treasured. Reconnecting with herself, Kelly also took time to reconnect with herself. Away from the demands of public life, she rediscovered the joy of solitude. She read, wrote, and reflected in ways she hadn't allowed herself in years. Long walks became meditative moments, and silence no longer felt like an interruption. Friends and family noticed a change in her. She was grounded, more centered, and radiated a calm energy that seemed effortless. Mark, too, drew strength from Kelly's presence, reminded of the woman beneath the public persona, the woman who was patient, consistent, and deeply loving. Depth in partnership. In this quieter period, Kelly and Mark's marriage took on new depth. It was no longer about appearances or curated moments. It was about shared endurance, quiet support, and being fully present for one another. They found strength not in grand gestures, but in the simple, everyday moments that they shared together. The ripple effect of Kelly's decision. Kelly's choice to step back sent a broader message, one that resonated beyond her own life. It reminded people that even in high-profile careers, the most meaningful moments often happen out of the spotlight. She showed the world that sometimes the greatest act of courage is to slow down and prioritize the relationships that sustain you. Her decision inspired others to reflect on their own lives, encouraging them to take pauses, to reconnect with their loved ones, and to consider what truly matters when everything else fades away.